Hello, welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a beautiful but chilly Saturday, the first one of 2025. Looks like a nice stretch of weather coming up this week. I'll take it. Every week you can click off without, I'm looking at grass. It all melted last week. Every week you can click off without piles of snow, the closer to spring. Again, I don't mind the snow, but if I could avoid it, having to clean it up, that's not so bad either. But anyway, exciting. The UPS guy just came with a box I've been anticipating. Last night, postman dropped off an alternator. That's exciting, and I got all kinds of junk I've been foraging for. So let's get right to it. First off, I needed an alternator for the 496. The gentleman I bought it from, kind enough to leave the alternator brackets, the water pump, the pulleys, everything. I almost stole the alternator off the 377, but that, I had to have a talk with myself, is going backwards. I'm putting that engine together, not taking it apart. So I went on, chose an Amazon reject, open box. There's a lot to choose from. You can buy 1-wire or 3-wire. I went ahead with the 3-wire. That means you gotta use the plug on the side too, because most likely I'm going to have a aftermarket wiring harness that probably has the plug already wired into it. So I have a few of them kicking around here if I choose to go that way. I'm not sure yet, but if I want the 1-wire, I can swap this one out with the alternator on the 377. Also chrome, that's a Pro Form, I think. This one here, I chose it from the reject pile. It's a DB Electrical. They advertise and sell a lot of stuff on both eBay and Amazon. I don't know anything about the company or where they're from, but this is advertised as a Delco 10SI 105 amp. Again, it was beat up a little bit in the box. Last night I was at the kitchen table with a set of needle nose pliers from my wife's sewing kit, trying to straighten out the fan because it's kind of bent. I almost got it, but it's not perfect. But it's got a nice pulley. Everything appears to be brand new. It came with the bolts there and for the ground here. Just a nice looking rig, and I'm thinking, well, it's still probably imported, right? Well, the bearing I'm staring at right here, USA. So that's not bad. I got a discount because it was an open box. I paid $80 for it. Not bad. So that's a win. Might as well get right to the exciting box. It was probably a month and a half ago. I told everybody that saw the video that I was on the Holly Harvest sale, the Holly website. I've said it a million times already, but one more time. I bought 2 pair of 4500 Dominator throttle bodies. I bought a primary and a secondary in black, and the same thing in shiny, they call it. A week ago, I got tracking on the black one. It's not here yet because it had to come from Texas. This one came from Kentucky. And not only did I get mine, other people that back ordered and watched my video and got right on it, I believe they're getting theirs any day now as well. And when you look at Jag, Summit, the Holly site, these are back in stock. So this is a secondary. Let's open her up. Throttle body unit. This is pretty exciting because they've adjusted the price. During the Holly sale, I paid $150 for the primary and $100 for this one shipped. $100. The price is back to $1,270.95 for this baby. From a distance, if you don't look too close, it looks like a Holly Dominator carburetor, but these bowls are fake. And underneath, I'm looking right at the injectors. And for the dual quad, these are made specifically for a primary and a secondary. This one doesn't have the throttle position sensor. It could. It doesn't have the map sensor built in, and it doesn't have the idle air control, or IAC. So this one apparently goes on the front, and you put the one with all the garbage on the back. It doesn't really matter. And I've already bought the harness to go in between. That's pretty exciting. They make a single version of this with 8 injectors. This has 4 100-pound injectors. So 8 of those will do 1,500 horsepower. So 2 of these, they're 1,440 CFM, so no problem there. So a pair of these on a naturally aspirated motor that would make a 1,500 horsepower, that's pretty stout. So there's really no limit, and you can see why I bought 2 pair of them. Part of me wish if I was more opportunistic, I would have bought more, but instead I told the whole world, or at least a few people that watch my video, to go get their own if they were interested. These are not to be confused with the Holley Stealth EFI, which have the ECU built right into it as a self-contained unit. This takes an external ECU. You can run Terminator ECU, an HP, or a Dominator. I have HP ECUs. I got the wiring harness. I bought the harness that connects these two. So I had to spend a few more dollars, but if you were to buy this kit new with everything, with the Terminator ECU, it's $4,000. Might as well round up a few $100. It'll wipe out $4 grand. So if you're wondering why I'm even messing with these, it's because I initial hit stole them. So couldn't help myself. And I thought I'd like the black ones better, but I keep moving them around on the manifold. Let's go put these on the manifold and see what it looks like, the 2 shiny ones on the black manifold. Not gonna lie, I kind of like the look. However, I've semi-decided that this manifold would be better suited for a bigger engine that I want to build later on down the road. I'm already collecting parts for at least a 540, if not bigger. This manifold's shorter, even though I've installed the laminated spacers. I could make the linkage work. The other manifold is more of a street type manifold, if you will. Still a tunnel ram, but longer runners, probably a better choice for this particular motor. I don't know if I'll put the black throttle bodies on the silver manifold, kind of this in reverse. I'll make that choice when the black secondary throttle body shows up Monday. So I also bought another 4150 to 4500 adapter for the other tunnel ram, because that's made for regular Holley flange carburetors, 4150 and 60 style, either forward or sideways. The height of the manifold makes the linkage a lot easier to work with. I'm gonna mount them sideways anyway, because you have to due to the size. And the 2 inches I'm gonna gain with the adapters, I'm gonna take out of the air cleaner anyway. Probably have to make some kind of bottom adapter and then run air filters in the tops. Holley gives you more options nowadays in the carburetors. You got these 4 holes on the outside to bolt on a bottom plate, or you can still use the traditional stud in the middle, which is now reduced back to 1/4 inch. They had it up to 5/16 for a while. So again, that's down the road. Once I make a bolt the manifold on for sure, we'll go from there. When I set the Y-end tunnel ram on this engine, it sits really nice by itself. And the 1275 Felpro gaskets I have are 60 thousandths thick. Looking at the way this manifold sits on here, I think it will work fine, but I went ahead and ordered the 1275 gasket. I think it's a -5. It's twice as thick. It's 120 thousandths thick. Gives you a little more, leeway with this. It's a beautiful manifold. It's, imported. The welding all looks nice. Inside is, I have no complaints about it, other than they dropped it in shipping, but I got it here. It's usable. It is what it is. Back to the bench. I'm sure it's confusing watching the last few videos where I go back and forth between my love for carburetors and my desire to try out this EFI that I stumbled upon, and again apply what I'm learning on my online Holley tuning school. So I am going to buy a Holley fuel pump that'll work its way. You can put it at carburetor pressure, 7 psi or less. You can put it at 43 or 59 pounds for EFI. The only difference is the regulator, which, thanks to my buddy John, I have many regulators in stock, so that's not going to be a problem. I also have 2 of the Holley, they're fairly new, maybe 4 or 5 years old, dual sync distributors. It has a cam and crank sensor built in. It's made for the Terminator HP or Dominator ECU to control the timing. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of those too. So with the EFI, I have my distributor figured out, but I was still, the last few days, week, been foraging because I have ignition parts everywhere. Been trying to rein them all in, put them in that bin. I found some cool old stuff. Everybody, if you're old like I am, remember the yellow Accel super coil. You know, you had to have one of those on your car. I have 2 orange ones. I don't know the origin of the orange ones. I just found them, unearthed them. I have not 1, but 2. I got to look up the history on those to see if they were still offered by Accel. Seems odd they go away from their yellow heritage. But anyway, when I ran my orange Camaro in Top Sportsman more than 10 years ago now, I ran 750, 180 with nitrous, 5-speed Lenco. That was one of the last holdouts. People were changing over to EFI. I had nothing but a MSD 7AL2, the gold box, and I had to have a plug-in module for that for retard. I had both start retard, so because I had a crank trigger distributor that was locked out to start it, you put in a start retard, it pulls 25 degrees out of the total number of degrees of timing you have, so it doesn't buck on the starter. And also when you apply the nitrous or boost or however you wanted to trigger it, it retards whatever the chip you put in is. So, you know, the old pill or whatever you want to call it. So I've never run a 6AL. There goes the heater kicking on. I'll try to make it brief here. Actually, I'll be back when it kicks off. Otherwise, I'm going to be drowned out. Nobody wants that. And we're back. While the heater was running, I dug out the Accel super coils. Well, at least I don't know, and I have trouble. I went online. I haven't seen any orange ones. They're still selling the yellow ones. Accel products, you see yellow under the hood, you automatically think of them. The yellow plug wires, the yellow coils, both the small round ones and the big ones. These were yellow with a tan top. These are orange with a tan top, and not only 1, I got 2. I don't remember all the details or even why they're in my collection, but here they are. This one's the nicer of the 2. Unknown. While we're on the subject of coils, you look under the hood, you see red, you think MSD. This is a Blaster 3. I got a new Blaster 3. This is a Pro Power 2. The Pro Power is more drag race, not to probably run 100,000 miles, but who knows how long it would last. You know, I remember the red Pro Power 1, I guess, you know, said, you know, drag racing only. So, but still people run them on the street and drive them and everything else. So, matching the coil to your type of ignition, it's best to look it up, because some say points only, some will do points and brakeless, and a CD box, whatever you got. Best to just check. So when I went racing, I still ran an ignition box, and my distributor, for instance, on the 377, or that old Mallory, has a, you know, a Hall effect style pickup in the distributor, and you need a box to process that and, you know, send power to the distributor. So I collected these 6A boxes, and I'm probably going to use one of these. 377 I showed you in the last video. I found that Summit brand, which somebody makes it for Summit, so it could very well be an MSD. I haven't even had it out of the box, but best to match up your parts. Now, for the disappointment I spoke of last time I talked about MSD. They're still the go-to. They're all owned by Holley now. Holley makes their own distributors. They still sell Mallory distributors and parts, and they still sell MSD, but Holley, whoever owns them all. So they're all kind of the same. The dual sync I just spoke about distributor, there's an MSD version of the same thing. but we're going back. You look at the new MSD distributor caps and stuff, they have like aluminum, well, silver one like that center one, and instead of the gold terminals, this is an older big cap, the crab cap. Actually the crab cap goes the other way, but this is made specifically for, works really good with a crank trigger distributor setup. This is what I ran on my orange Camaro that I just talked about a minute ago. Because the terminals are so far apart and the rotor button has a wide terminal on it, when you're retarding timing, it prevents you from pulling it off the terminal and blowing the intake manifold off it if you have a nitrous or something. There's a reason why you retard the timing. You don't want your ignition to quit when that happens, to go to infinity, or worse yet, the next cylinder. So that's why the wider cap is a lot better suited for retarding timing than this one. There's a limit on this one. This one you were able to retard more if you have to. So keep that in mind when you're shopping for a distributor, what your plans are. And the MSD instructions tell you to take a sacrificial cap, bore a hole in it, and watch the timing light and try to have your normal spark on one side of the terminal or on the rotor button. It gives you enough sweep so you don't pull it off the terminal. So phasing the distributor is what it's called. When you get to that point, look it up. Now my complaint with especially the newer MSC distributors, but even the old ones. Now I have not had either one of these apart. This one I bought on a trip up to Vermont with my buddy Charlie to Island Racing. It was on his used, of course, me being a scrounge, I'm always interested in all the used stuff. I ended up buying this. Has a nice set of underheader wires that came with it. I didn't have a screwdriver at the time, so we're gonna do this live. I'm not joking, I've never had it off. But I just know if I got it from them, it's probably good. Because what I'm afraid of, when you open this up, it looks like a pile of iron rust. I don't know what happens inside of these distributors when they sit, but both of these have been inside. And this one, it's a nice old cap, it's not gross. Everything in here is fine. It's a little discolored just from air probably, but that's fine. Now they tell me, and I'm gonna look it up for myself, that this pickup is a Ford Duraspark, and you can buy like a standard ignition replacement for it. I researched that a little bit, and it seems the standard ignition one isn't exactly like the MSD one. Definitely doesn't have the correct plug, and they cost the same. You might as well buy this pickup if you want to have a spare. You might as well buy it from MSD, because you know it's going to bolt in at least, and you assume it's good quality. So this one's good to go. Got a brass gear on it. We already talked about that. This one here, these are both slip collar type distributors, the same part number. On a low deck, big block, or all the small block Chevys, this collar right here is made into the distributor. It's fixed, so when you drop it in, the height should be correct if your manifold isn't messed up. Now, where that black manifold I was just talking about, it's a fabricated manifold. Did they mess that up? You can't go wrong. You have to go through a few extra steps to set the height of this. There's an Allen wrench, and you can move it up and down, so it's up to you to get it right. This came in a tall deck 427 that I have. I'm not taking very good care of. It's sitting without the heads on it out in the green box. Been that way for quite a while. I'm staring at the cylinders every time I walk into that green box, and they're not even rusted. If I put it in my tan storage box, they'd be rusted. I'm actually scared on this one. It's been outside in the box, in a box, in two boxes. It's not like it's been getting wet, but will I be lucky twice? Yeah. I don't know if you can see the pickup, but my God. It's probably, I could probably take it apart and clean it up. The pickup's probably okay. Just this is rusty. And the wheel, that's pretty gross. The cap's a little green, but it's not as nice as that one. So I can save this, but I'm sick of paying $400 or $500 for a distributor. You haven't abused it. There's no way for, salt air to get in there. I haven't even been near the ocean. So that is annoying at best, but I'm glad at least to know I could save it, but I have to put some work into it. The other one's pretty much ready to run. So the last subject, while we're talking aftermarket ignition, is a thought that always crosses my mind. If you have, let's say, something old enough at this point, still seems like new technology to me, but you know, the old GM HEI distributor, I'm just talking GM at the moment, but apply it to your, you know, Mopar or Ford. If you're going cross country and you have a, well, at least, I assume you should, I haven't tried getting any HEI parts from your local auto parts store, but you assume with all of those still on the road, there's still a lot of the vehicles that had that style distributor on the road. You could probably get parts if you had to. It's kind of reassuring if the, like again, if you could retrofit this with parts you could get at the local parts store, that'd be great. But if you break down on the road with anybody's aftermarket ignition, pick a brand, you're gonna probably be overnighting it in from somewhere if you're truly stranded, or you're gonna carry spare parts with you, which is my point. If you're gonna head out, you know, more than walking distance, or somebody with a trailer to come get you, your aftermarket ignition system is most likely, if it gives you trouble, gonna be hard to get parts for, especially ignition boxes. I mean, when you run this style distributor, it doesn't run without, if you can call it a brain. This was a big deal back when they came out, you know. Nowadays it's, you know, considered dinosaur stuff, but something to think about. At least a lot of the old timers, really old timers now, will tell you that's why they like points, because, you know, they could probably get it going on the side of the road. I used to tell a guy I worked with, he told me that all the time. He had a Harley with points in it. Took the electronic distributor out and put points in. He said, I can fix it on the side of the road. I said, mine hasn't quit yet. We're always stopping when we weren't riding with him, because he was stopping to file his points. So that's it for today. Might have been a little long-winded. I apologize. Some people complain about that. We covered a lot of subjects. One final thought, I was invited to a guy's shop yesterday, and I'm always, I walk away inspired every time. Doesn't matter their level of knowledge or the tools they have. It's just cool to get invited into somebody's space where they create things, and it's always eye-opening for sure. And never underestimate the human mind. If you decide you want to do something, you can probably figure out how to do it. So have a great day. Talk to you later.